This is Business Rockstars. I'm Brittany Whitney, and my guest today is Lana Bramlette, founder of Lana Jewelry. Lana, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So for those who are not familiar with you and your amazing jewelry collection, tell us about your entrepreneurial journey and what kind of inspired you and led you to start your brand.
Absolutely. So 17 years ago, I was on a blind date with my now husband, and things moved really fast, and we moved in really quickly in 10 days, which is like unheard of.
Wow.
But we were not ready to get married, but how was I going to tell the world that I was taken?
Right.
So I created a necklace with his name on it. At the time, everybody was watching Sex the City and wanted the Carrie necklace from Carrie Bradshaw, but you couldn't go anywhere to get it. And you couldn't get a real one unless you knew a jeweler down the street, or how would you even make it?
Right.
So I was walking around, and everybody was asking me, why are you wearing a Rob necklace? And when I said the story, I said, well, that's my boyfriend. Everybody went crazy. Well, I have a boyfriend. I have a husband. I want my kids' names. So we really were the first to start creating personalized, fine jewelry.
So you have no outside investors and your business has grown so organically. Tell me kind of about that process and your decision to not take any outside money.
We are growing very quickly, and we are learning really that controlling this right now is very important, because I'm still such a creative force. And I have still so many ideas for this business. Even though I feel like we're 17 years, I still feel like we just are starting. There's a lot of things I want to do. And I think a lot of designers or people in business maybe make the mistake that they want to do so many things immediately and will accept money for obviously giving up control.
Right.
And right now, that doesn't seem like the best decision for us. I still feel like this is such a baby of ours, and we've grown it to such a large company already on our own. It's very hard, I'm not going to lie. It's extremely hard to obtain the loans and, figure out, the balance of cash flow and how to really make the business healthy and grow. But it's definitely for the future. I understand that at one point we're going to have to get these investors. But it's kind of like finding a husband, it's the perfect partner.
Right.
And we're looking for somebody potentially who wants to stay in this for the long haul. And most investors don't. So, and you are always looking at it from an exit strategy. And that's not how I see our company right now.
And we talked a little bit earlier about how you were kind of the first to do the name necklaces, and you're really a trailblazer in the jewelry space. What advice do you have for someone who has a super disruptive idea? They just don't know how to execute on it.
Sure. Well, first you have to have a real disruptive idea. I think a lot of people have ideas. Our idea was 17 years ago. Would my idea work today? Probably not. Because it's always very important to be the first in something. I think business people, designers, talent, whatever, forget that you can't ride the coattails of somebody who started something. I mean, some can. You can say, I can do it better, but you really have to do it incredibly different, and you have to do it a lot better.
Right.
You have to speak to anyone and everywhere your idea. I think a lot of people make the mistake that they want to keep it private, keep your ideas in private, keep your thoughts and what you want to do. And my feeling is speak it to everybody. Put it out into the energy, because that's now you can't go back. You'll have egg on your face.
Right.
You have to go through the process.
Yeah.
Really know your market. I mean, before I created this line, the reason I created this, and I think a lot of designers do this too, is there was nothing like this in the marketplace. So I was searching for something that wasn't there. And I was speaking to people, and I was doing my own research and development for a very long time, speaking to people that I respected and trusted and thought would be a potential customer, and really recognized that there was a missing link. So really doing your research. And then get out there and do what you say you're going to do in a big way.
Right. And a lot of entrepreneurs, people who want to start,
love that word.
Or fund a business. Yeah,
Yes.
entrepreneur. They're afraid of failure, and then they don't start their business. Was there ever a point in the beginning of your business, or even in the middle when you were successful, that you had this immense fear of failure? And how did you kind of knock it down?
So oddly enough, I'm afraid of everything.
Really?
Like from flying.
And I wouldn't get that from you.
Exactly. Like weird things that other people are not afraid of, I'm deathly afraid of.
Okay.
But failure is something I'm completely not afraid of. And when people say to me today, did you think you were going to be in Bergdorf? Did you think it was going to be this big at Neiman's? Did you think you were going to get Nordstrom? I look in their face and I say, yes. The moment I started this was going to be big. Do not start something thinking that it may get to someplace.
Right.
You have to be your biggest cheerleader and biggest advocate. I don't care what people think of me. I think you have to have your blinders on and you have to go forward. You have to believe in yourself. But let me say this, you have to have credibility.
Right.
So you have to believe in yourself because you've talked to experts and credible people in the space you want to be in, and they also say to you, you have something here. Because you're right, a lot of entrepreneurs. This is a world that we're living in where everyone thinks they've got something they can do something with. You may, but before I started my business, I worked for a lot of people. I worked in agencies, I worked in PR, I worked in advertising, I worked for somebody.
Right.
You have to first work a very long time and hard for somebody and something before you start something on your own.
For your own boss.
Yes, you have to learn.
Yeah. And your brand is a powerhouse managed by some successful women, including yourself. What advice do you have for the next generation? Like, what advice would you give your daughter who has an entrepreneurial spirit and who really sees themselves owning their own company?
Yes. Well, she's going to work in restaurants for a long time.
Yeah. The hardest job of them all.
Yes. She's going to serve people. I'm in the business of serving my customers, of standing on my hands and knees and bowing down to my clients, my stores, anyone who believes in me. So walking into a place with humility is extremely important in any space. Waiting until you get to a certain space where you can have that kind of feeling of like, I got this. It takes time and you have to work really, really hard. I mean, it is 24/7. My husband owns a business too, so we both understand each other. If only business owners can understand each other in that way.
Right.
Because you are it's like that's your other child. You have to give everything to that child, your new business. Learning and being, I think a lot of people come into our space and they want to work in fashion, but you can't look at this as fashion. This is a business where 2 + 2 has to equal 5. That's another thing I always say. 2 + 2 = 4 gets us nowhere. So bringing people in who have ideas but also are good at something, and that are actually going to do something with that.
Right. And where can people buy your product? What's your website?
Yes, it's lanajewelry.com. And obviously the same, Lana Jewelry on Instagram. We sell obviously a lot on social media. And we're in all the fine retailers around the country.
I love it. Well, Lana, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is Business Rockstars. That was my amazing guest, Lana Bramlette, founder of Lana Jewelry.